Now, I believe in trade, but I also believe that for America to compete and win in this global economy, trade has to work not just for Wall Street, it's got to work for Main Street. It's got to work for all Americans. And that means making sure that our workers are competing on a level playing field. And the countries like China aren't breaking the rules and putting American workers at a disadvantage. Making sure that we've got strong labor agreements. Making sure that we've got enforceable environmental agreements. Making sure that we've got strong safety standards. Making sure that if South Korea is selling hundreds of thousands of cars here in the United States, that we're selling more than 5,000 cars into South Korea. That's something that the president has to take upon him or herself. This can be a priority of the president of the United States of America. So, bottom line is this. The American people have a choice this November. It's going to be a clear choice between 4 more years of the same failed Bush policies that have wrecked Michigan's economy, or real change that allows us to write a new chapter in American manufacturing and the American economy and American history. You need somebody who is listening to your voice. You need somebody who cares about working people and is going to fight for them each and every day when they're in the White House. That's the kind of president I intend to be. Michigan, I hope you give me a chance to do that. This is mainly a town hall meeting. I want to learn and listen as well as do all the talking. So everybody have a seat. We've got a little bit of time. And what I'm going to do is just raise your hand, and I'm going to go boy, girl, so make sure everybody knows I'm being fair. This gentleman right over here. Go ahead. And we got microphones so everybody can hear your questions.
Thank you. I'm A.J. O'Neill. I'm from AJ's Cafe in Ferndale, Michigan, where yesterday we held a mock election. The election was for the Democratic presidential nominee between Barack Obama and Senator Hillary Clinton.
How do we do?
Unlike West Virginia,
Oh, there we go.
we did this unscientifically, but with as much honesty and integrity as we possibly could. I did not tell anyone who I endorsed until after our results, and I'm proud to congratulate you. You won 92 to 29, 76% of the vote. My question is, since our election in January was somewhat flawed, and I, like many others, voted uncommitted.
Yeah.
Good-looking, uncommitted guy, I must say. How do you think you do now?
Well, listen, we feel very confident about our ability to win Michigan. Now, obviously, because of the whole hoopla around when Michigan held its primary, my name was not on the ballot, and we did not do campaigning here. And I want to just remind everybody that wasn't my choosing. That was we were just what we do is we just tell us what the rules are, and then we play by the rules. You tell me we're supposed to, do this, we'll do that. If you want something else, we'll do something else. Now, fortunately, if I'm fortunate enough to be the Democratic nominee, I'll have some say about what the rules are, and I can guarantee you that we will make sure that the Michigan delegation is seated, and that they are going to have a full voice in what happens in the convention. But look, what's going on in Michigan is what I've seen in Indiana. It's what I've seen in North Carolina. It's what I've seen in my home state of Illinois. People are anxious about their futures. People are anxious about their futures, and rightfully so, because this is an amazing statistic. We just went through the first economic expansion since they've been keeping records, since World War II, where the average family income actually went down by $1,000. Think about that. Even when the economy was growing, your income was contracting. Now, there are a number of reasons for that. Number one, what we just talked about. You had manufacturing jobs leaving, being replaced by jobs that paid lower wages. So that contributed to it. weakening of unions, because we've had the most anti-labor administration in years, and as a consequence, workers have had less leverage. Globalization. What's happened is many U.S. companies, they ship jobs overseas, they're shipping the goods right back, selling them through Walmart, and they're making huge profits. But those profits aren't passed on to workers. And at the same time, you've got a tax code that makes it worse. George Bush gives tax breaks to the wealthiest Americans and didn't provide much tax relief to people who really need it. And finally, everybody's costs, everything from gas to groceries, have gone up. So people have felt squeezed. Compounding the problem, then you have lack of oversight on Wall Street in terms of the financial institutions who are pumping out mortgages that really should not have been given to folks who couldn't end up affording the mortgages. You've got credit card companies who were able to work the rules in Washington, so you've got things like the bankruptcy bill that make it harder for you to get out of bankruptcy, even though credit card companies are pushing credit card on people at teaser rates of zero interest, and suddenly they jump up to 29 or 30%. All those things have contributed to people being in a very fragile economic condition. Nowhere is that truer than here in Michigan. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. And so our job has to be to fight to make the economy fair again. I think that is going to be the central issue in this election. Who can restore a sense of fairness and economic growth for everybody? Bottom-up economic growth instead of trickle-down nonsense that doesn't end up working for the American people. And that's why I've said we're going to change our tax code. No more tax breaks to companies that are shipping jobs overseas. Tax breaks for companies that invest here in the United States. Getting $150 billion that, by the way, is paid for by polluters who are generating carbons in the atmosphere and causing global warming. $150 billion over 10 years reinvested in the auto industry here in the United States. Reinvested in manufacturing here in the United States. Reinvested in clean technology so that old steel mills are now making windmills. Textile plants that are now suddenly using wood chips to create biofuels. Creating solar panel industries that will be at the cutting edge and help businesses actually save on industry. We can create 5 million new jobs on clean energy. Rebuilding our infrastructure, roads, bridges, laying broadband lines in communities that have been left behind in the digital economy. Another 2 million jobs that we can create. And if people tell you we can't spend that much money on infrastructure, you just remind them that we're spending $10 billion a month in Iraq. If we can spend that money in Iraq, we can spend some of that money right here in the United States of America. We are going to make sure that we have a Department of Labor that actually believes in labor. We are going to, and last point, we're going to have trade agreements that are fair. And we're going to have a president who's actually going to look to enforce trade agreements so that if China's manipulating its currency, somebody's actually standing up and saying, no, we're not going to let you take advantage of our economy if you're not reciprocating. Now, we take some of those steps. We're not going to change things overnight, but what we can do is at least start putting this economy on a firmer footing going forward. And that, I think, is going to be what this election's all about. And the Republicans know it. Look, they just lost an election yesterday in the heart of Mississippi. David Binder knows this because, I mean, this is a seat that has been this is hardcore Republican seat. And they lost it by 8 points. And they did everything they could they ran heads with my face on it, and they said, oh, look at this, former liberal, and his former pastor said offensive things. I mean, they were trying to do every trick in the book to try to scare folks in Mississippi, and it didn't work. And the reason it didn't work is because the American people know we need a new direction in Washington. That's why we're going to win Michigan. That's why we're going to beat John McCain here in Michigan.